Hello, everybody. It's good to see you, if you know what I mean, so to speak, seeing you. Just glad to know you're out there and you're living your life and you're doing your very best. A couple weeks ago, I was reading from this book by Jean Vanier, Eruption Eruption to Hope, and it's written a long time ago, back in the 70s, but it's got some pretty long lasting truth to it. So I'd like to read you a passage and a poem and then talk about that. It really is about being seen and knowing that we are seen, that we are valued. He says, but still deeper, there is a thirst in the heart of man. Keep in mind this was written, 50 years ago. A deep yearning to be understood, to be loved and to love. I need someone near me with whom I can share, with whom I can feel secure. I can relax in and with him. If I am alone, I may feel lonely, even anguished. And we know what can result from this anguish. We may harden our hearts in order to erase or smother it, or we may simply refuse to live. This is the feeling of those who feel rejected, who believe they have no place in the universe. These sentiments are in each one of us at one time or another. To feel not wanted, useless, without any value. This impression of solitude is expressed very simply by Prévert, Jacques Prévert, which was a French poem called Early Breakfast, translated by William Baker. It was written in 1967. By Prévert in one of his poems, he reminds us how much we need the look of a friend who says, I love you very much. I believe you have an important place in the universe, and most especially for me, in my heart. So here's the poem. He put coffee in the cup. He put cream in the cup of coffee. He put sugar in the coffee cup. With the little spoon, he stirred it up. He tried a sip. He put back the cup. He never spoke. He lit a cigarette. He made rings of the smoke. He put the ashes in the ashtray. Without talking to me, without taking note, he stood up. He put his hat on his head. He put on his raincoat because it was a rainy day, and he went away without a word, without a glance aside. And me, I laid my head in my hand and I cried. That poem I thought was really powerful. And I'd love to say it was powerful because, I sat in a coffee shop and watched a couple as he, sat on his phone and completely ignored her and got up and left. And to be quite honest, my husband's awesome, but he did that to me the other day, last week. We went out for breakfast and he sat there scrolling on his phone. He was engrossed in something. And I know now, after the fact, that he was thinking something was bothering him, but he pretty much never even looked up at me the whole time. And when he was done, he got up and walked out. And I had called after him to say, am I paying the bill? And he smiled and said, yep, have a good day, and left. And I remember being kind of ticked, like, hey, I've chosen to spend my life with you and you're not even acknowledging me. And the thing is, I do know I am loved by him. And so that poem hit home in one particular way, but it didn't hit as hard as for some people it might, because I know that he was distracted by something else. And that he was so distracted by that something else that he didn't remember in that moment that I was there with him and I could have helped to bear that distraction with him. But I do know, as I watch society and I look around and see how many people are engrossed in their phones or reading their books or paying attention, even when they're in groups of people, they're not even talking to each other, or sometimes they are. But the truth is, it's very important that we know there's someone in our lives who loves us. In this particular case, Jean Vanier was talking about the people he was meeting in L'Arche and the reason the L'Arche community was created. These were people who literally were treated like throwaway people. People thought they had no use because they were somehow disabled. And Jean Vanier and other people like him said, you know what? No, that's not the truth. These are people created in God's image, and they are beautiful and wonderful, and they have something to contribute. The thing is, that we need to pay more attention and dig a little deeper to be able to find what that contribution might be. And the truth is that that's happening en masse in our society. I think, especially right now with everything that's going on politically, I think it really is about making everybody be in silos, that no one actually feels that they have someone that they can look at and see love return to them. No one upon whose shoulder they can lay their head. And that is a shame. That is an absolute shame, because every single person ever born is loved by God, and needs to be loved by other people. And that includes you. You might be going through a really, really lonely time right now. You might feel like you are just, everybody thinks you've got the world by the tail, and yet you feel like you're the one at the tail who's on the, instead of you being the world by the tail, you feel like the world's got you by your tail, whipping you around, and you have no sense of being able to stop what's happening. But one thing we need to do is we need to slow down and acknowledge that we need to love ourselves. We need to be able to look in the mirror. And despite the things we see that we don't like, there's plenty here I don't like. But the reality is, when I look in my eyes, when I look in the mirror and I see, and I really pay attention, and I get out of my own head, I realize I'm a child of God, and God doesn't make junk. That I am loved by God. And that opens the door for me to be loved by others. There was a whole long period of my life when the only one I thought did love me was God. And because I hung on to that desperately and wouldn't let myself believe that I was unlovable, I got to a point in my life where I know I have many people who love me. And that's a gift. We all need someone that we can love. And we all need to be loved by someone. That's what we need to work on. And I promise you that there is someone, even if it doesn't feel like it right now, there is someone in your life who loves you. Even if it's just me. I love you by virtue of your birth, by virtue of the fact that you draw breath every day, by virtue of the fact that you are a child of God. You are my sibling in Christ. You are my sibling in creation, and I love you. And the truth is, other people do too. So go out and find them. And as you go out to find them, find people that you can love. Because I guarantee you, if you're feeling unloved or unlovable right now, so are other people around you. And the best thing to do to alleviate that sense of loneliness is to love others. And it's amazing what happens when you love others and they love you right back. The world changes. So no matter how lonely you are feeling today, no matter how much you believe that no one loves you, trust me that you are loved. And then go out and love someone else and see what might happen. Have a great day. God bless you. And I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.